this off. Hello, hello. Can you hear us? Please write in the chat if you can hear us or not, if everything is okay. Hopefully, everything is fine. I don't see any technical difficulties on my end, so we should be good. Please let me know. Type 1 in the chat if everything is okay on your end, if you can hear me okay. Actually, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think it should be okay. Anyways, we can just start. It is what it is.
0 viewers right now.
Yeah, but like sometimes it says that, but then like the number is different here. Like so before it was like 1 here and then it was 0 here. So like I don't understand. Anyways, yeah, we can just start.
Okay.
Okay, so we are back. We are back from a big. I think it was 2 months not streaming because we didn't have the infrastructure to stream. Number one, the internet was really bad. Number two, I just didn't have a desk or any place to stream, so I couldn't really do anything. So the only thing that we could do was post shorts and milk the shit out of the previous stream. So if you go to my channel right now, you can see all the shorts that we posted over the last 2 months. They're going to be clips from our previous stream.
Yeah.
So every single topic about fitness or nutrition that we talked about, yeah, we just try to make it into a short. And it was probably a good opportunity for us to like practice the editing process, practice the uploading process. So yeah, I think that was it on our end when it comes to streaming. It was a pretty busy 2 months, I think. We were traveling here and there. How many countries did we go to over the last 2 months?
Three.
One, two, yeah.
No,
three.
Four.
Wait, are you counting like connections?
Connections. Yeah.
Four countries. 5.
Which other one?
Peru,
I was already counting that.
Panama,
Peru, Panama,
Ecuador,
Ecuador,
uh,
Salvador.
El Salvador.
4.
Oh, I guess you're not counting like U.S., right?
No.
Okay, well, yeah, 4. So 4 countries over the last 2 months. Yeah, it was pretty busy. We had a lot of things to do related to basically our immigration status. We're not spies or anything, so yeah, we got that sorted out. It lasted for long, like the process took longer than we thought it would, which is why we couldn't really stream because we couldn't really come back to a place where we have like all our setup available for us to stream. But I have an announcement. So basically, what we're gonna be doing moving forward is we're gonna try to stream once a week or once every 2 weeks, depending on our schedule. Just because we have other things to do aside from YouTube, and then we're gonna try to upload 2 to 3 shorts per week, depending on how interesting the streams are. And also, we're gonna try to launch some long form content into the channel, and that's probably gonna be like once a month or like once every 2 months. It just depends on our time and if we have like good ideas to put out there. So yeah, I think that's basically it for content announcement. I don't think I'm missing anything else, right? Hold on, give me 1 second. Actually, we can just put this here.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Okay. Anything interesting? Interesting over the last 2 months?
I got fatter. I got stronger.
Yep. Yeah, we've been training pretty hard over the last 2 months. I think our performance has increased quite a bit, and we've been gaining a little bit of weight. Just because in Ecuador the food is super cheap and super good, usually like pretty tasty. So yeah, we've been enjoying life overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I found pretty funny was that back there I have a lot of friends, and these friends I don't usually see them often. I would say I would see them maybe once every 2 to 3 years, depending on my schedule. Um, but this time that I was able to go back, um, because I've never really like trained with them or gone to the gym with them, it was their first time seeing how we work out, and it was kind of like interesting to see how um, like from their perspective, back then they would see me as like the skinny kid, and then after I came back, I'm like um, suddenly doing something that is super impressive in their eyes. So that was like pretty interesting to see. Um, but yeah, overall, it's been pretty good to um, basically reconnect with these people and yeah, go to the gym together. We did have one training where we got super humbled because a friend of mine has a brother who apparently was a power lifter, a competitive power lifter during his university days. And we were like, yeah, he's probably like, around our level. Nah, he's like way stronger. Like we got humbled really, really hard. Now, to be fair, he's a power lifter, and we don't really power lift. Like we just train for hypertrophy mainly, not necessarily for strength. Um, so yeah, but it was a fun workout. I've never done that many sets for one specific exercises, but yeah, I think that was a really interesting experience to kind of like train as a power lifter.
Yeah. I ended up with a stiff neck.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
After that workout, couldn't really move my neck, and I had to take like 3 days off from the gym.
Hmm.
Just couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I was completely destroyed after that workout. I think we were like pretty um, beat up, like for 3 days or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
My back was also very sore. Only the right side for sure. Well, we did do some. Um, what is it called? How do you say it? Where you train each side separately, right?
Like unilateral.
Unilateral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for context, like I usually train, for example, one exercise for 3 sets, and then the rep range is going to be between 6 to 12 reps, depending on the exercise.
Hmm.
Um, I've never done like bench for like 2 reps, and then like 5 sets per exercise. That's
Well,
that's
we
insane.
were supposed to do like four or so, but we weren't. We just weren't strong enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe I hit. Yeah, I hit the bench. It was 225 for 4 sets. Right. Every set but one, I did just one. You know I think
So you
on
did
the
your 1 rep max basically like for like 4 to 5 sets.
yeah, back to back to back, and we were sort of rushed because it was like, okay, after me it's him, and after him is our friend.
Oh yeah, keep
So
in mind like we were like what was like 5 people training together.
yeah,
Then we looked like high schoolers basically, like everyone going to the gym at the same time, and then trying to like take turns to use the equipment. So we took forever. I think that workout was like 2.5 hours or something.
yeah, but
Yeah.
basically yeah, it was 225, and I hit 1 rep. The next set I hit 1 rep. Then the next set I hit 2 reps, and then the last set I hit 1 rep. And then how many did you do?
I did like 2 reps for every single one. I
Yeah,
think for the last set maybe I did like one or something. I don't
that's
remember.
crazy. I don't know how these people get stronger by doing that. And not weaker. And not weaker. Okay, it's
Yeah,
just too much.
which links perfectly to what I wanted to talk about, which is like lifting standards basically. So what I mean by lifting standards is like when or like how strong do you have to be in order to be considered a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced lifter. So usually the conventional way to measure that is a beginner usually can bench, I think it would be one plate, so 45 pounds on each side. Squat, wait, is that right, or is that
What? Say
intermediate?
that again.
So a beginner, how much does a beginner bench? I think it's like anywhere between nothing to like 135, right? Or like one plate.
Beginner.
Yeah.
Oof. It depends who you ask.
Right.
Like in my eyes, it would be, yeah. It would be like maybe 155, 160.
Hmm.
From nothing to 160.
Wait, I'm actually getting confused. Is an intermediate lifter someone who benches more than like one plate or two plates?
I think more than two plates.
More than two plates is
Or
intermediate.
or 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 intermediate starts around two plates. Like if you're benching like 215, 220, 225.
Because my understanding is that
Like I don't actually know how people measure that, but I know people that think that. So I,
because my understanding is that everyone tries to like um, get to two plates, but
yeah.
I don't remember if it's because you're already considered like an intermediate or because you're considered an advanced lifter. I don't remember. Um, I think it was.
Like I feel like a lot of people, even if they're strong, right? Like let's say this guy who won the genetic lottery just started lifting
Mhm.
for the first 3 months, and then he already hit 225. Does he really think he is intermediate? Even though, like, yeah, he knows he's strong, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think he thinks he is intermediate. He would still think, okay, I need to learn about, uh, how the muscles work. I still don't know what this exercise is called, or whatever.
Mhm.
So the knowledge part is also important. So
Yeah.
it depends on the person, but I would say that 225 is like among the natural people that don't power lift. It's
Okay,
pretty good.
so I think here's what I'll say because here's my understanding, right? My understanding that is that not a lot of people can, not only like among the lifting population, but like just generally speaking, I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of people can bench more than two plates. That being said, if we were to set a standard for the general population, I think more than one plate is like already like intermediate. In the lifting world, however, I think it's like more than two plates is intermediate.
Yeah.
I think
Probably.
that's how it works. So, but the point that I was trying to make, because you got it into the nuance, which is what I wanted to talk about, is that okay, let's say anywhere from nothing to like two plates is beginner.
Hmm.
Anything over two plates is intermediate, and everything over three plates is advanced, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I would say that that's how it is.
yeah,
Like generally speaking, for gym goers,
yeah. I mean, to be fair, there's probably more classifications.
like people, like if you bench 275, right? People, okay, respect, bro. You're really strong. Da, da, da,
Yeah,
da, da. And if you hit 315, they're like, oh my god.
yeah,
Oh, and then if you hit like 400, you're like Larry Wheels or something.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are crazy standards. If you hit like 400, like four plates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, like getting into the nuance is basically the idea. So when you set a standard, right, it's a general rule that it probably doesn't really apply for everyone. So there are a lot of things that come into play. So genetics is one of them. Your leverages, whether you have like long arms or like a bigger rib cage to bench. And that's only talking about bench, right? Like if we're talking about squatting or deadlifting, that's a whole nother thing to talk about.
Nutrition,
Nutrition is
sleep,
important. Yeah.
recovery, right?
So like someone can have, for example, a beginner bench and an advanced deadlift, like me, um, and then someone can have a beginner deadlift or an intermediate deadlift, but an advanced bench. So it's a very I don't want to say complicated, but it's gonna vary case by case, on like what you should consider yourself. At the end of the day, I don't think it's helpful to like categorize. Um, I don't think it's that helpful. I think to categorize yourself into like one of those standards. I think you should just like try to improve with every session, and then that's it. Like you shouldn't be thinking about like lifting standards that much. Um,
I think the way that people should measure it should be revolving around time, knowledge, and results. I think that's like,
Time, knowledge, and results.
yeah, like a healthy balance of all three.
Results. Yes, I agree. I don't think because I don't think any of them stand on their own. So like for example, like time, like someone can be lifting like 10 years, but if they suck, then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
will never call them advanced. Someone can have all the knowledge, study, like get a master's in I don't know kinesiology or whatever, exercise science or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And then but they don't lift at all. You wouldn't call them advanced. And then someone who has results, well, actually, that one could stand on its own. Wait, actually, no,
No.
because if you train, let's say for the first like 2 months, and you were able to hit
So
like two plates, right? I wouldn't call you an advanced. It's hard to
exactly.
say. Yeah.
So I feel like it's more like you have to be an expert in your field. Like, mm, are you qualified for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually when people try to see if you're qualified on something, uh, they're like, okay, how long have you been working this job? Da da da. How many results? And how much do you know, right?
Yeah.
So so you have to know, you have to be able to apply it, and you have to do it for a long time
Yeah.
to be able to show that you're an expert on the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it's sort
Um,
of like a job, right?
yeah. I guess you could see it that way. But yeah, I think lifting standards are helpful. No, well, they're not really helpful. Like it's just
It will give you a perspective.
it gives you some perspective into like what people refer to whenever they say intermediate or advanced. But then I don't think it's helpful for yourself if you want to categorize or put yourself in a category just because so many different variables come into play, and yeah, it becomes a little bit more complicated than just like a number. Therefore, you fall within a category.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about nutrition. So, like, if someone were to come to you
Uh-huh.
and ask you, okay, I'm trying to uh, lift seriously, what do you recommend me in terms of nutrition?
It depends on the goal that they're trying to achieve. First of all, I wouldn't prescribe anything. No, I wouldn't prescribe the same thing to every single person that asked me this question.
Right.
It depends on the goal, and yeah, I mean, and then I would also ask like, okay, like what has been like, do you have any experience doing this, or oh my god, it sounds like I'm talking to no, no, no. But let me think. And you also have to uh, ask them like, is it really hard for you to, well, depending on their goal, is it very hard for you to put on weight,
Mm-hmm.
or the other way around? Is it very easy for you? And then depending on that, we will tweak it. Okay, like give me an example. Okay, like you're that person that is asking me, but
Mm-hmm.
who are you? Okay,
Let's say it's like a skinny kid
okay,
who is trying to gain weight and gain
okay,
some muscle and gain some strength, but they don't want to become unhealthy while trying to put on weight.
good. Because that's something. Unless they tell me, hey, I want to be unhealthy, I don't give a fuck,
Yeah.
right? Uh, I would say, do you want me to get into like vegetables and all of that or no?
Yeah, yeah, just
Like
just
in that part, I'm like a little bit more like general about it.
mm-hmm.
Like I'm not gonna be very specific, but obviously you want to hit your protein goal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's how much is it? Like one pound per.
1 gram per pound of body weight.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, then also get on a. Okay. Then also obviously eat some fibers, eat your carbs as well. Like whatever you have left,
Mm-hmm.
make it a mix of carbs and your fibers. And lastly, you want for this skinny kid to be on, I don't know, let's say like a 300 to 500 surplus.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
and and
that's a
and,
good range. Yeah.
and it's not too unhealthy where he's eating like 2,000 more calories than his maintenance. So yeah, I think a lot of kids are very um, they're very impatient, and if they don't see results fast, they're gonna be like, oh no, I need to eat more, I need to eat more. But even if your progress, let's say you're like a robot, right? Your progress is linear, right? You're only gonna like if it's linear. If you advance like I don't know, like 1% today, and then 1% tomorrow, and 1% the day after, you can't expect to have like double your size next week. Like it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. So if it was that easy to get results, everyone would be walking around like crazy in shape, right?
Keep keep in mind that the results are not linear, anyways.
Yeah. So
So
like remember, okay, like um, when you talk about changing your lifestyle and becoming and getting in shape, it's a consistency game, right?
yeah,
It's a long term game where um, let's say you are 20 years old, okay, and you suddenly start taking your health and your fitness a little bit more seriously. The fact that you've spent 20 years of your life without worrying about it and suddenly you want to worry about it, of course you cannot expect to get super crazy results within a few months, right? You spent 20 years without caring about it, so of course it's going to take maybe a couple years for you to get into like great shape. It's going to vary depending on your genetics, obviously. um, but if we're talking about nutrition, um, I think that anything on the extremes is probably not a good idea. So, like, if you're trying, for example, to gain a lot of weight in a short period of time and you start eating crazy amounts of calories, chances are probably not healthy for you. Your stomach probably cannot bear it. You're gonna end up throwing up, um, and yeah, like gaining weight at that rate, say like 2 pounds of fat per
per week.
week or something is probably not good for you. I don't think your body can sustain that amount of changes over a short period of time.
Also, uh, you risk your health if you are in a too like if your body fat percentage is too high, especially if you did it over like if you did that change over a
Mm-hmm.
short period of time,
Yeah,
right? You like your body has no time to adapt. So
yeah. So I would say here's my recommendation. Okay, I would say that you should start focusing on your macros. If you're a skinny kid, like we're back to the first example that we're talking about. So if you're a skinny kid, you should focus on your calories. You should try to like eat a little bit more. You can like estimate using there's a bunch of online calculators that you can search on Google,
mhm.
but search your maintenance calories and try to eat 300 to 500 calories over that maintenance number. Um, Once you do that, you want to make sure that you're eating enough protein. You want to make sure that you're eating enough carbs because you need energy to perform in the gym, and then a moderate amount of fat,
Yeah.
just because fats are necessary for multiple different functions in your body. When it comes to your micros, so we talk about macros, now your micros, so that's going to be your vitamins and your minerals. Um, those things I wouldn't worry too much as you're eating your vegetables. So like I don't care like whichever vegetable, like just eat try to eat a variety of vegetables, whichever ones you like, okay? And then fruits as well. Once you have those covered, if you want to maximize for health, I would say that you can always go get a test with I think, wait, is it a dietitian or a nutritionist? Whatever.
I have no clue.
Just go to a clinic, okay? Get tested to see if you have any deficiencies, right? Everyone is a little bit different, right? Like, for example, for me, I ate whatever, like in terms of vegetables. As long as I eat vegetables, I don't really care that it has to be broccoli or it has to be like carrots or whatever. I just eat as many vegetables as I can. And when I got tested for my health, it turned out that I was deficient in vitamin D, which made sense because I used to live in Canada and there's not much sun over the winter. Um, so vitamin D was one. I think vitamin A, which I had no idea that I was deficient on, and I think it was selenium. Selenium, which I didn't even know it was a thing. So like, if you want to maximize for health, it's always good to get a report, a medical report that says like, oh, you're deficient or your levels of whatever vitamin or mineral are outside of the healthy range. Um, but once you got that covered, in terms of optimizing your performance in the gym, it's always going to come down mainly to calories and macros. So your proteins, carbs, fats, and uh, and then for health, it's going to be your micronutrients. I think that's generally the rule. There's going to be exceptions here and there, but that's the general rule. Also, make sure to eat a lot of fiber. Fiber is good for you.
Well, fiber and vegetables.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna come in vegetables and fruits.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I think most people undereat the amount of fiber that they should be eating in a day. So just make sure to uh, keep that in mind. Um,
If you know, you know.
if you know, you know. Um,
I think uh, it is as important. Well, if you're a person that wants to be able to see results, a way that I would suggest you to do that would be to track your progress. You know, so if you're trying to gain weight or gain weight and also be, I don't know, have bigger muscles
mhm.
in the gym, you can track your progress. You know, track. Okay, so we already said we're gonna track the nutrition. Then we're gonna track. I don't know. We're gonna start taking pictures, and we're gonna be taking pictures after the gym, and we're also gonna be measuring our weight. With that information, it doesn't matter if it's newbie gains or whatever. You're gaining weight. You're getting stronger. You're probably getting bigger, but you probably don't know. So that's why you take pictures so you can see the before and after.
Mhm.
And of course, you're gonna track your weight so you can look if you're actually gaining weight or
Yep.
not.
Yeah. When it comes to tracking, um, there here's my opinion. I think that you should be using multiple different modes of tracking in order to not be deceived by one specific mode of tracking. So, for example, right? Let's say you're trying to lose weight. Okay. Let's say you're like on the fatter side and you're trying to lose weight. Um, one mode of tracking would be to look at yourself or to weigh yourself every day on the scale, the number on the scale. That's one way. The other way, or another way, would be to um, measure yourself with like a tape. So, like say the circumference of your arms or your waist, um, and then another one would be just gauging in the mirror, right? So like looking like, oh, let's say I look at myself in the mirror and it's like, do I look like fatter or like skinnier? Do I feel like I look fatter or skinnier?
I used to do that.
And so like I don't think any one mode or any one way is enough because you can be deceived by
True.
by the information that you're seeing. So, for example, let's say you're only relying on looking in the mirror, right? If you do that, your brain can play a lot of tricks on you. Where like, oh my god, I'm not making a lot of progress. When in reality, you are. You just need to be more patient,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, let's say for example that you only rely on look at the number on the scale, right? The problem with that is that there are a lot of like number fluctuations every single day depending on how much sodium you ate, how many carbs you ate, maybe you drank a little bit more water or maybe you took some caffeine, and that's going to,
Ate too much.
yeah, you ate too much or you didn't poop or something. Like there are a lot of different factors that can affect your day-to-day weight, but the important thing is going to be your average weight over long periods of time.
Yeah, and if you're losing or gaining weight, you could be losing or you could be losing muscle and gaining fat.
Yeah, exactly. So like the number on its own is not really helpful. Let's say you only rely on measurements. Well, again, it's the same issue as like relying on looking and at only looking at yourself in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, like I'm measuring and the number is not changing. Maybe I'm not doing anything right. When you
Could be
probably
water
are, it
retention.
could be water retention. Yeah. So I would say that combining those three is probably the best way to go. Because let's say, for example, that you measure yourself and you see that your weight didn't change, but your measurements changed. So that way you know, like, hey, maybe I'm just retaining a little bit more water, but I know that I'm losing fat, so everything is okay, right? Let's say, let's say, for example, that your the number on the scale didn't really drop that much, and let's say the measurement on your waist didn't drop that much, right? But then you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, damn, I kind of like what I'm seeing. Well, then problem is solved, right?
Yep.
Like, who cares? Then as long as you like how you look, right, or as long as you like your progress, that's all we care about, right? So I think having like multiple different ways of measuring progress is probably helpful, just because again, you don't get deceived by one specific way or by one type of information that you're getting from one way. Um, so yeah, I think those strategies I implemented in the past when I was trying to lose weight, and I'm not really implementing them now that I'm trying to gain weight, but gaining weight is a little bit different just because you have a lot more freedom on like what you can eat. Um,
And the way that you want to do it.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think that's my sort of like general advice when it comes to like tracking progress.
Hmm.
Um, do you have anything to that?
No, I agree.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Um, so,
Correct.
oh yeah, yeah. Put right. Okay, okay. Hold on. Give
Yeah,
me one
yeah.
second.
Need to get in the mood, guys. Need to get in the mood.
Give me 1 second. All right. So now, oh, I don't like that
Make
red.
it pink.
That's like purple.
Red. Wait, let me see this.
That's right.
Pero no se ve red on the screen.
Well, it's okay.
Oh. Wait.
So now what we're doing is we're changing the color of the background depending on the topics that or the section that we're talking about. So like we were talking about the fitness section, which was orange, and then now we're gonna enter a little bit of like relationship and dating section. So that's gonna be like red ish. Although we're not really gonna spend too much time here,
Yep.
at least not today.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very like in real life. It does look very red, but you can't really see it on stream. Like it looks orange again. Like if I turn off this, looks a little bit better.
It's okay. Just pretend it's red. Okay.
All right, let's say it's red.
Okay.
We should
All
buy
right.
LEDs or something.
So when we were back, yeah, we should. When we were back in Ecuador, there was an interesting phenomenon that we realized, because we haven't been there for a long time, and last time we went there was 2021 when COVID was still like there were still some regulations here and there, um, but something that we realized is that Korean culture, whether it is K-pop or K-drama, has infected the whole South American market, where before, if you were Asian in those countries, that was like, oh, like whatever, or like they would make fun of you sometimes, right?
Yeah. Like
Now,
you're not attractive or anything. You're just like whatever.
yeah, now Asians are trending. I feel like they're trending. I
Yeah.
feel like now that we went back, like how many waitresses or like servers at multiple restaurants give you better service because they saw that we're Asian. And then you can tell too. And then it's a little bit uncomfortable because it's like, yo, I'm just a regular guy. Just give me my food. And yeah.
Getting catcalled on the streets.
Damn. Yeah. That was an interesting experience. So like we got catcalled by guys, by the way. So we were training. And then after the gym, we walked to a plaza that was next door. And as we were walking across the street, there was a group of university students. It's not like kids, like university students, and they started screaming like, "Hey, this guy thinks like you're handsome. You're so handsome. Blah blah blah." And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
that was so uncomfortable, but that's an interesting experience.
Right. What else? Getting hit on in the gym. Both of us by the same.
By the same person. That person clearly had an Asian fetish, but um, I mean, like, I don't think it's like I don't want to judge too much or anything. I just find it like interesting the fact that
That like maybe 7 years ago it wasn't like that.
yeah, like how much the sort of like Asian culture has penetrated the
K
countries over there.
drama,
Yeah, K
K-pop.
dramas, K-pop. Yeah,
Yeah.
um,
What else happened? We do sort of get like, well, like we can tell like people on the street have interest. Sounds so arrogant, but
no, no,
they
yeah, yeah,
approach
yeah.
us. They approach us.
Cause like the thing is like, sometimes you feel like, is that person being nice to me, or are they like interested in some way or another, right? And you have that thought, and then oftentimes it's like, yeah, they're probably being nice, right?
Then also you can hear a lot of K-pop songs around the bars,
Yeah, but then like
restaurants.
sometimes like when you have those thoughts, you're like, you sometimes like dismiss them, like, oh yeah, they're probably just being nice or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, but then the different thing this time was that like for us, like I had that thought, and then later, right, I would like confirm with you, and then I would say like, hey, don't you think that that person was a little bit too like
Mm.
nice, or like, and they were like, yeah, 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 and then like that's how we confirm. It's like, okay, I guess something was going
No,
on.
and then even if we ask like other people or we tell them this experience, they're like, yeah, no,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, that was like, yeah,
Like the yeah.
yeah. So it's in a way a little bit,
Just find it very interesting. You
yeah,
know?
it's interesting, yeah. um I think especially I think for South American countries, like probably gonna be mainly K dramas, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
anime is a big thing too over there. Like everyone watches
for
anime
sure,
now.
bro. Everyone is on Dragon Ball. Come on.
Bro, I remember when I was in middle school, bro. People used to make fun of me because I used to watch Naruto, and now everyone watches Naruto. So like, we're trending. We're trending. Okay.
No, no, no. Now everyone likes Demon Slayer, bro.
Yeah, I mean, they like all like the
That's in
mainstream
Japan.
anime. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a super interesting thing that we saw this time. What's another one that? Oh, remember when we went? So there was one time we went to the gym, and there was like this lady. She was talking to the security guard. For context,
Oh.
like everything is over there in terms of security is a little bit dicey. Like you have to be a little bit careful when you go out, just because there's like random crimes here and there, and law enforcement can't really deal with it because
It's random. Like,
yeah,
it's not even like they're trying to rob you. They'll just kill you on the spot, and you can be completely innocent. Like
yeah,
you didn't do anything to them.
yeah, yeah. So when it comes to security, you have to be very careful when you go over there, and I don't recommend visiting Ecuador right now. But I, all of that to say, right? Um, all of the a lot of establishments, they have like security guards. And there was this lady at the gym, or at the entrance of the gym, who was talking to the security guard. And as we were passing by, um, that lady suddenly saw us, and she was like, "Oh, um, I have a friend who likes like guys like you. Like, why are you guys
Just like
Japanese?
that.
Yeah,
Just
just like you, just like,
yeah.
yeah, the way that you look. Like, are you Japanese or something?" And we were like, "Wait, what the fuck?" That's such a weird thing to say on the spot, but yeah, yeah. So we've had like a bunch. I think there was one week that was really bad. That like it happened
Well,
every
all
single
of these
day.
experiences happen like in a bundle, right?
Yeah.
It happened all within a week. I don't know if that if that same week the K drama dropped or something.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
we were trending.
We were trending. Yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, I think that's kind of the bulk of our experience back home. Security issues and being hit on. at different establishments that we visited.
It's the spicy stuff in Ecuador.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you want to visit South America, don't visit Ecuador right now. Pretty it's pretty dangerous right now. Like when we got there, we were shocked. Remember when we went to the buffet? The
Buffet.
guards,
Oh yeah, bro. They had shotguns.
they had shotguns. They
had
had
it
two
fast.
guards with shotguns, and then like they opened the door for us. Like one arm with shotgun here, and then with the other arm they opened the door for us. Then at the airport, like the security guard at the control area where you exit and enter and exit, this guy had a rifle. He had a rifle. He was like just like brandishing, like walking around, like super cool.
Bro, they had the Fortnite shotgun, bro. They had the golden pump.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's the
yeah.
same
That's
one, right?
Exactly the one.
Yeah,
That's
and
exactly the one.
they're standing in.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. It's crazy. But
Inside a buffet.
Yeah.
Not outside, inside.
no, and you know what's the funniest part? The funniest part is that that's not even enough because sometimes the criminals they come with like it's organized crime. Like they come in like trucks, and then you have 30 people who come out of this truck and they rob the entire establishment. It's crazy.
With fucking like big rifles. And all
Yeah,
that.
with big ass
With an
rifles.
AK or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like AK. It's like I forgot. But
I don't know.
yeah,
anything
but
about that.
inside the buffet, you would see like 3 to 4 guards with the same
Yeah,
shotgun.
with like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And,
then-
then they're all talking to each other. Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they had like a spare gun on
Yeah.
the side too.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy. Like it almost feels like you're hiring like a military person to protect your business.
your
'Cause-
food.
Yeah, because it's crazy. It's crazy. And then everyone is like, yeah, that's normal. Like no one is like shocked or anything. It's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and it makes them feel. I mean, I think. Well, I'm not gonna complain because it does make me feel more safe. You know, like at least I know I'm not getting shot first.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy.
It's one more barrier, but yeah, no, they all come with like actual like
Yeah, and then the thing is that
automatic
like
weapons and shit.
yeah, and then the thing is that like law enforcement can't really do much because number one, it's not a developed country, so like it's not like a lot of their tactics or like it's not like their law enforcement is like super developed. So that's the first thing. The second thing is like there's too much crime. You don't have enough money to fund like enough law enforcement like officers in order to take care of like all this crime. And there have been cases of like citizens beating the shit out of criminals because of like how bad it is. Because like you can't wait for law enforcement to come and save you. They're gonna take like 20 minutes.
It's not just about just hiring a bunch of people and whatever, because also the money has to be enough to incentivize them to risk their lives, because this is like almost like an unwinnable battle, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't know where they are. They just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They either kidnap you or kill you on the spot for no reason. You know, it sounds crazy. It sounds like made up, but it happens. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of videos. If you guys want to look it up, just look it up on your own. You know.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Just don't tell anyone I told you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, other than that, food is pretty good. Food is cheap.
If you want to go to South America, you know, talk to some big booty Latina and go to Panama, go to Peru. We've been there, not bad. Actually, food really good. Not too
Cheap.
expensive.
Cheap.
Yeah. People are really nice. You know.
People are nice, yeah.
friendly.
Super welcoming.
Yeah. And it's very safe overall. Like obviously, don't go into the dark alleyway at 3 a.m. You know, you might.
when the devil is up.
Yeah, he's awake. He's awake. He just woke up. He's drinking his coffee, waiting for you. So don't do that.
Yeah. If anything, the mornings are safe because all the criminals are sleeping because they stayed out late committing crime. So yeah. Okay, let's move on. Okay, I don't want to talk about crime anymore.
It was supposed to be the spicy stuff, but it got blood.
Do you want to talk about self-improvement? We'll move on to the section because I want to focus on that on the stream, like
Yep,
for the
let's
stream.
do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. Let me change the light.
Green
Green.
for growth.
Ah,
Yeah,
true. Okay. Let's see.
yeah. And in self improvement, you might also make money. So also
Yes.
green.
Boom.
Big money.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about self improvement. So, the previous stream, we talked quite a little bit about fitness. We focused a lot about fitness. I think that's mainly the thing that I want to talk about in this channel. But I do want to sprinkle a little bit of like relationships and a little bit of like self improvement.
I'd say especially on the streams, right? We want to be a little bit more well rounded, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah. And then also like these are topics
Like
that I enjoy talking about, and I've put a lot of at least like I myself have put a lot of time thinking about.
a lot of thought
Yeah.
into it, and it's also because it is something that we constantly do. It is, and we're passionate about or whatever. Like these type of conversations. Um, it is a way for us to connect with the viewers,
Yeah.
because we're being authentic this way.
Yeah. So yeah, I think for at least for me, I want to share what I have in mind when it comes to like these topics.
It's sort of who you are, right?
Yeah. And also like if there's anything that I can learn from you, like you can say, maybe I disagree with what you said and then you put something in the chat and that'll let me think about my opinion about the specific topic that
Yeah,
we're
it's
talking
all
about.
it's all about interacting,
And learning.
and learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever we can learn
Yeah.
is welcome here.
Yeah.
Actually, green looks fire. It looks fire.
Looks pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, especially on the like over there. Like
Yeah.
it's okay, but on stream it looks
Yeah.
fire.
Okay. Do you think we should talk about this or this?
Uh, 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 uh,
I don't have too much content about this. Maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what. I'd say the second one.
Okay,
I don't
sure.
really know. It's very general.
Okay, sure. So I think something that I've been wanting to talk about is basically the idea of like 9 to 5s versus entrepreneurship. So this is a topic that I wanted to touch on stream last time, but I didn't have. I think we ran out of time.
We got distracted.
We got yeah we yeah we
You
got
guys
distracted.
you guys can see the clips, okay? You guys can see all the stupid things we were talking
Yeah,
about.
we I think we just got sidetracked. Okay, so yeah, but I wanted to touch on it last time. So, but I couldn't do it. So we'll talk about it this time. Basically, the idea of like choosing between 9 to 5 versus entrepreneurship, which one is better, which one is the option for you, and what I think about these things. Okay. The first thing I want to say about this is that I don't think any option is quote unquote the wrong option. Because I feel like nowadays online, you can see a lot of content, like crazy amounts of content of people saying like, "Oh, entrepreneurship is the best. Ditch your 9 to 5," right? And it's okay for those people to post that kind of content if they actually
If that's
believe.
what they truly believe.
Yeah, if that's what they truly believe, exactly. Um, but I think that for me, I want to give a more well-rounded perspective where I present to you the pros and the cons of each, in my opinion. Now, before I do that, I do want to give you my bias, which is like I do prefer entrepreneurship, just because I think I am someone who likes to be busy. I am someone who enjoys flexibility on my own choices and also being able to schedule my own time. And oftentimes with 9 to 5s, it's a little bit difficult to do that. But if you're an entrepreneur or someone who is doing their own thing, usually you have that flexibility. But that is not to say that one is better than the other. Like I can perfectly understand if someone prefers the stability from the 9 to 5s. So
and the pros from it.
yeah. So obviously the pros. Let's start with like 9 to 5s, right? Like the pros of a 9 to 5 is that basically everything that you need is kind of basically provided by your employer. So like usually when you get a good 9 to 5, um, I think that you have to keep in mind that like it's stable because you don't have to worry about like, oh, next month I'm not gonna get a paycheck. Like you are working for someone and then they're going to provide you a paycheck. All you need to do is find a good job so that that paycheck is high enough for you to like live, um,
Comfortably.
yeah, comfortably without worrying about like your needs. So that's the first thing. The second pro is going to be, if you are a person that enjoys having a set routine, and you can, well, having a 9 to 5 is really easy in that way because it's on the name 9 to 5, so you can always schedule things ahead of time just because you know that from Monday to Friday 9 to 5 you'll be busy, so you can like work around that. um, Stability is a big one. Again, you don't need to worry about any potential risks to your income and all the benefits that you get from your office. So it's going to be like insurance or even like taxes, where your employer pays your taxes for you. At least that's how it worked in Canada. I think it should be the same in the U.S.
Hmm.
Um, so so yeah, those are like the pros that I can think
Yeah,
on top of my head.
all the tools are already given to you. Um, yeah, they're gonna give you a desk, everything,
Yeah.
the programs that you're gonna be using, the equipment. So let's say that the land, or what is it called, the plate is already served for you.
Yeah.
You just have to like cook. I mean, eat whatever. You know what I mean. Another thing is the company can go bankrupt or whatever. Yeah, you end up not having a job, but you're not in debt.
Right. Like you don't take responsibility for whatever happens to the company, right?
Hmm.
Now, obviously, the con is that, number one, you don't really have a lot of like flexibility in your own decisions. Um, Obviously, it varies depending on a job. Some jobs require you to, um, you know, make more decisions.
Yep.
But for the most part, you always have a manager, you always have a supervisor, you always have a boss who you have to report to. And so that's a little bit tough. Also, generally speaking, 9 to 5s, for you to climb the ladder is a little bit difficult
Yeah.
because it is not only how you perform, but how many spots are available for you to climb, right?
Yep.
So like the more you climb, right, the fewer like better positions there are, right? Maybe in the beginning, if you have an entry job, it's super easy. Like how many like middle managers are out there, right? How many middle manager positions are out there? You can always take one of them, if you perform well enough. But then from middle manager to like to like supervisor or whatever, like it becomes more and more difficult because the amount of spots available for higher positions is going to be lower and lower. And sometimes you reach a point where, it's not up to you, right? You have to wait until a high position executive quits in order for there to be a spot for you to climb, right? Even if you're the most qualified, even if you're the one who sacrificed the most, it's gonna be difficult for you to climb if there are no spots for you.
Yep.
So that's something to consider, um, when you're deciding this. Um, I just don't like the sort of like over emphasis, um, for entrepreneurship and how it's like way better than 9 to 5. It depends on your own
There's
preferences.
a lot of risk.
Yeah.
Also, you gotta be considerate of, or you gotta consider whether you're compatible with that type of lifestyle or not. Maybe it's too much stress for you.
Yeah.
Some people like to say that, yeah, it might not be a 9 to 5, but it might be a fucking 24/7.
Yeah.
Especially in like at the beginning, if you haven't automized everything, if you haven't, uh, it takes time, basically.
Hmm. Yeah.
You can't expect things to.
For entrepreneurship, right? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, obviously we all know the pros, right? Usually the the potential for money is much higher because as an entrepreneur, you don't have a boss, so you take all the earnings. Um, Usually, as an entrepreneur, you have a lot of flexibility for your own schedule and your own decisions. obviously there are risks, right? You are responsible for the decisions
Yeah.
in
You
your
have to
own
be.
ventures.
You will be held accountable whether you slack off or not. It's not
Yes.
like there will be a paycheck waiting for you,
Yeah.
and things will not go as smoothly as a 9 to 5. Like you're gonna have to provide your own tools to yourself.
Right.
So you're your own employee.
Yeah.
So if you want to be lazy, then you're gonna make no money.
Yeah.
You know.
So, yeah, and you know how it kind of feels? It's like for entrepreneurs, you get a lot more freedom, a lot more flexibility, but all of those require a lot of responsibility. It feels a good analogy, I think, is that you know how like students who graduate high school for the first time they go to university, right? And yes, they have more freedom, they have more time available, and they have more ability to choose what they do with their life, right? They choose their career, they choose whatever they want to study, right? But then oftentimes you see like so many people in universities who like waste their career because they go partying, they do drugs and whatever. So like having the freedom to do more things, right? It's not always a good thing. It depends on what you use it for. And so for an entrepreneur, right? Like I think that you have to be careful with like the amount of freedom and flexibility that you got as an entrepreneur. And the other thing to keep in mind is that you have to keep in mind that it's not a 9 to 5 anymore, but it's a 24/7 now.
Yep.
So
So it is true. With entrepreneurship, you can go from zero to hero, but also from hero to zero.
yes, yeah. Now there's one caveat that I want to make, which is like we're making this conversation sound as like they are mutually exclusive, which is not the case. Obviously, there are plenty of people who have their 9 to 5s, but on the side, they have like some small things that they're working on. So, like, or you have a lot of people who worked a 9 to 5 and eventually they decided to leave that, right? And then become an entrepreneur.
Some
Um,
people are like entrepreneurs and they have like a little, like, not a 9 to 5, but like a part-time job.
mhm.
Yeah.
So here's what I think. I think that if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to question yourself as to like what your goals are. Um, I think the best way to be an entrepreneur is doing something that you enjoy, but you know there's a demand for. So like if you enjoy something, then you're going to be like pretty much obsessed with it. Like you're
Yeah.
not gonna mind working 24/7 towards that area, right? Um, so now, obviously, right, that sounds great. Oh, yeah, everyone wants to work on something that they enjoy. So, my kind of general guideline and the way that I think about this is that, like, I think it's helpful to have a 9 to 5 for the stability, but wherever you can find stability, just take it and use that to fund the things and the lifestyle that you want.
Exactly.
Whether that is like becoming an entrepreneur and working on things that you like in an area that you like, right? In the beginning, it's gonna take some costs and some sacrifice. So having a 9 to 5 reliable income that you can take and then fund those ventures is probably a good strategy. Obviously, it requires more work and you have to sacrifice other things. So maybe like some sleep or maybe going out at night with your friends or something like that. You have to sacrifice that because you need to like work on your stuff. But
Yeah.
um,
But overall, I would say that in both of them, you still need to have like the same sort of qualities in order to succeed. So, for
yeah,
example, have your have your priorities clear in mind, right? That's number one. Number two, be responsible. You don't want to be, you know, not taking accountability for what you're doing, and then, oh no, it's not my fault.
yeah,
Oh, I lost my job, or oh, my my business
yeah.
exploded, or something. You know, yeah, and I think, is there any other quality that you need for that can be applied for both?
Any other quality?
I think you have to be intentional.
Yeah,
So intentional, you have to be responsible, and you have to, well, having knowing your priorities is also being intentional.
yeah,
But you know what I mean. If
yeah,
you have those things clear in mind, and if you like like let's say your priority is having a 9 to 5, and that's something that you really like and you really enjoy, you're successful in your own way.
Yeah. Like every single decision and whichever path you take is going to have its own risks. Just, be careful out there. And also, like, don't be afraid to take risks, but also, like, be responsible. I think that's it. And keep in mind, not like, it's not like one path is better than the other, right? Keep in mind, like, both are acceptable acceptable routes. So yeah, and then also the other thing that you have to keep in mind is that, like, a lot of it is going to tie to your family and your culture. So, like, I think for Asian people, most of them, correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, I'm pretty sure from all my Asian friends,
In your experience.
in my experience, my understanding is that they want you to have stability
Yeah.
more than entrepreneurship, I think. Because, like, I've seen so many people um who try to get into, like, good schools and good programs in order to get into, like, good company for a
Yeah,
9 to
good
5.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
But it probably has to do more with the name of the company than, like, the
Well,
stability.
I think it's tied with the higher education route, and then sort of like, oh, get this degree because this will get you into this career or
Yeah.
this job.
Yeah.
I think that's the ultimate goal,
Yeah.
but they don't tell you that, right? They're like, no, 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 no. I don't want you to be YouTuber. I want you doctor. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you gotta be doctor. Or no, 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 no. Computer science. Yeah,
Here's
you
the
gotta do it.
here's a good question for Asian parents. Do you think that, like, what do you think is most important? More important. So, what do you think is more important? Do you think that money for Asian families
Or the way they
or
live.
reputation?
Oh, reputation for sure. Come on, man. Like you can be extremely, extremely wealthy, but because you're not, because let's say you're a content creator,
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, he has a lot of money, but he could be in the company and still making money,
Yeah.
and not be failure.
I think it's a hard one for me. I don't know what's the answer.
Well, it depends on uh, how open are your parents.
Well, for Asians, it's a little bit difficult, I think.
Well, not all the time. Like I've seen like some Americanized Asian parents that are a lot more understanding
Yeah, but, like, that wouldn't
and
be an
communicative.
Asian cultured, like.
Oh, true. Okay,
Yeah.
so if we're talking about tradition, I thought we were talking about looks. Okay.
Like Asian, like the race.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, no,
Okay.
no. I'm talking about, like, generally, like, in Asian culture, like,
In
what is
Asian culture, ah, dude, I think it. Yeah, reputation. Wait, what?
money or reputation?
Reputation.
Reputation. Like, here's a better question to visualize the two choices, right? Do you think the average Asian household would prefer a rich drug dealer
Okay.
or a poor, highly educated person? But I'm talking poor, like, not middle class. Like, I'm talking poor, like still living in the family's house and, like, can't afford anything.
Um. Yeah, still the poor
Highly educated.
because they're like, oh my son, you work so hard. Oh, you study, whatever, whatever. Oh, you yeah, I brought you some fruit. I brought you some dumpling. Like they would still be they would still support you, but that doesn't mean you're safe from the criticism because they'll tell you, oh, Ben over there, he got the doctor degree and and Michael is better job than you.
Yeah.
More rich.
Oh, the comparisons are insane. Okay.
So like they will still love you. They'll bring you fruit, which means love, dumplings and whatever. But they will still they will still talk shit about you,
Yeah.
and they'll let you know. It will be both in your back and in your front.
Yeah, I've always said this, and I don't think I've changed my mind about this, but I think that a quality that um, a quality that you see a lot in Asian households is that Asian parents usually look at their kids as an extension of themselves.
Well,
They don't,
they don't really leave you a choice to change your mind because
yeah.
because that's all we see. Um,
So like if you were to compare like different like for example Americanized or like Western influenced families, right?
yep,
Um, they I think they see their kids more as like individuals making
yep.
their own choices
An
and whatever.
individual is an individual.
But
Yep.
like I think that like more traditional households tend to look at their kids as an extension of themselves,
Yep.
meaning that like an extra arm, for example. So
Yeah.
like if your arm or extra like part of your body is a failure, you are a failure too,
Yep.
right? Kind of thing, and that's why they put a lot of pressure.
But it
in their
doesn't
kids.
apply the other way around. So, for example, if you're my son, and I'm like, oh no, you gotta behave this way because you're affecting the image of the family.
Yeah.
But then let's say I do something really stupid.
Hmm.
Can you tell me that?
No.
Exactly.
But yeah, because I'm just the
I am
extension.
the host.
Yeah, he's the host. I'm
You-
just the extension.
Yeah, you are the extension.
Exactly.
I am the main protagonist.
Yeah. So yeah, that I think that's something that I've seen a lot, where because because it is the kid is considered the extension of the parents. Anything that they do wrong is immediately reflected on the host. So and so like when you have Asian parents meeting other Asian parents, right? They love to brag about like what their kids have done because it's almost an extension of their own success. So like they're like, oh, my kid,
Harvard, Harvard.
not to brag, but like got into you know top one university, huh? You know, and you know.
Yeah, and mine know how to play the piano.
Oh, but mine is a professional ping pong player.
Oh yeah, really? Mine is a meter and 80 centimeter.
Oh yeah, mine left me a check with $100,000 for me to pay a mortgage.
Buy me a house.
Like the comparisons are insane. It's crazy.
No. You know what the final boss is? Mine is doctor. You're done.
Well, mine is lawyer.
Fuck.
You want me to sue yours? Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. And personally, I've experienced a lot of times where like my parents don't want to admit it, but it's true that they would come by like, oh, you know, like I was talking to. Do you remember the auntie who lives in the Peru? Yeah. So she has a daughter, and you know, her company sent her to France, because she was so good at her job, and like, you know, I'm just telling you, you know, and it's like,
These are also the
okay,
yeah. Keep in mind, these are also the same people that like entrepreneurship, but
yeah, our parents are a little bit different because they do like entrepreneurs, like the entrepreneurial route more than the 9 to 5s, but yeah, that's gonna be like more of an exception to the rule.
yeah. I think well, I think the issue doesn't even have to be doesn't even have to do anything with culture or anything. I think
No,
it's more like inconsistency.
I mean it is, but you could say that the culture is inconsistent in some ways.
Oh yeah. But every culture is inconsistent.
Yeah, sure, but like, um,
No, I think like what we're truly criticizing is more like the inconsistent,
like
the inconsistency part. You know?
sure, but I think the way that I'm thinking about it is that like, do you see widespread pressure on their kids in like other places, right? Like I don't see it as much. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you can find
Yeah. Of
like
course
a
you can
family
find.
that is not
But
Asian.
it is a lot more common.
Yeah.
When it's like these families that prioritize a lot of image and studying
Yeah.
and like education in general and a lot of these things that sort of give you status and make you look cooler.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing if you prioritize those things. I would actually say that's a good thing. But there are I just think the execution is maybe not the best.
Yeah.
When it comes to Asian households, a lot of the times, because I think there are a lot of very extremely smart kids, Asian kids, who are sabotaged by their own parents because they don't know how to bring their true potential out. They don't know their kids, and Yeah, they just pressured the shit out of them, and then they ended up being a failure, and
And it
not
could have all
for
been
them.
avoided.
They're a failure, not just for their parents, but for themselves too, because they're like, oh man, I had so much potential, and because I listened to my whatever, you know, I'm not. By the way, I'm not telling you guys to not listen to your parents, but if your parent doesn't really know you and doesn't care about you, then
I mean,
it's also
they
a
say
lose
that they
lose
do
situation,
care
right?
about you, but there are some things that could potentially sabotage you,
Yeah,
just because there is a misalignment in when it comes to like culture, especially like Asian American or Asian Canadian, like Asian households that left their country. There's usually a um, kind of like a difference in culture, in way of thinking, in and also a generational gap as well that you have to overcome.
yeah,
And to be honest, I don't really know what the solution is. It's going to depend,
yeah.
from family to family. But yeah, that's definitely a struggle that I think a lot of like Asian people can relate to.
Yep.
Um,
Well,
so yeah, it's tough.
I think the prescription would be, dropping the ego, uh, seeing your kid as an individual, and actually try to communicate and try to, support them in any way possible that you can. Obviously, there will be disagreements. Obviously, there will be things that you as a parent you might not understand, but just try.
Yeah.
Just try, and you'll see that your kid will communicate a lot more to you instead of playing the sad violin. In their room.
Yeah. Yeah.
You failed a test. Go play violin. 2 hour.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I think something helpful that you can do is, generally speaking, like, because for for immigrants, right? Like a lot of people who left, like a lot of families who left their country. Something that you can do is just like surround yourself with like good friends. I think having like good influences and people who are, um, how do I say this without sounding bad? Like,
Okay, what are you trying to say?
because I'm trying to say, like, there are a lot of people who have generally bad quality traits, and I think that you have to be very careful when you hang out with them, just
Yeah.
because it
Well,
definitely influences like the way that you behave. Now, I'm not saying that like you have no agency over your own actions or whatever,
mhm.
but I do think that like it is important to hang out with people that you think are competent in some way, shape, or form.
I
Um,
think I think that if you have no option, it is what it is. Be aware. But I also think that it's very important and healthy for you to, or I would find it unhealthy if you were like, no, I don't want to hang out with people that are more, I don't know, whatever your goal is, right? You
yeah,
know what I
like,
mean?
yeah, it's a I think it's something that you have to be careful with, because you can easily like start judging people from like their own accomplishments, and I don't think that's a good thing to do.
No.
I think you should judge people from their character traits,
Yeah.
like what kind of person they are and whatever. I don't think you should be like, oh, you didn't accomplish this, therefore I'm not gonna be your friend. I don't think, I'm not saying that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I'm saying that like in terms of like character traits, if someone has good character traits, they're responsible, they're punctual, they are
They're never late.
they're never, yeah,
They're reliable people. They won't lie to you. They're loyal to you.
they're truthful, and yeah, all these people who have like good traits, and that they are ambitious in a way that like they're looking out for themselves,
Uh,
right? There's a lot of things to learn from these people,
and
I think.
their best interest is not just the relationship between you guys, like as friends, right? But also, this person likes to look out for you, and you know, yeah, like cares for you.
Yeah.
These type of things. Like I'm not gonna tell him, hey, let's play Fortnite till 5 a.m. Every fucking day, cause
Yeah.
then we're we're gonna end up like not doing anything for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. Like the last thing you want is someone who doesn't really contribute anything, like more than, oh, like let's go to a casino and gamble, and
Yeah.
like after that let's go to my place and then we can like smoke weed and watch TV, like, you know what I mean, like it's not. But then if you have someone who
And
has stuff going on in their life, there's a lot of things that you can learn from them, and it also serves as a motivator for you to be like, oh, they have something going on, maybe I should do something about myself,
you know
right?
what's you know what's even worse? That same example that you said, but this person knows what your goals are, what your priorities are, what you find very important in your life, and still chooses to sabotage you, and doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
I mean, like, yeah, just, I think that you have to be aware of your surroundings, of the people around you. And yeah, I mean, like, if you live, I think if you live in, like, at least, I can speak for the US because we're currently living in it, and Canada because I've lived in it. Like, I think that if you really try, I think you can always climb up. You can always improve your current situation. It just comes down to like your environment, it comes down to your mentality, and it comes down to your decisions. I think that all these things you have to be aware of, and as long as you're aware of these things, you can always
Take action.
take action
Yeah.
and then be responsible for yourself. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. I'm not saying that if you do these things, you always make the right decision. No, you'll probably make some mistakes here and there, but like, um, it's just a learning process, right? Like you just have to, look out for yourself and try to improve, and try to look forward to something. And having, people around you who don't really have that same mentality can potentially harm your own goals, like your potential to achieve those goals, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And if that ever happens, can you really blame your friends or those people? No. The only one to blame is you, because you made the decision to hang out with them.
yeah,
So that's basically, yeah, what we mean by that.
yeah,
So yeah, don't blame your friends. Be accountable for your own actions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although I do think that there are people who have like a lot of bad luck where maybe they live in an environment who
100%.
you can't have like really like,
100%.
good friends, and maybe your parents are not
But
supportive
I
either,
think,
but
yeah, of course, 100%. And you might not accomplish your goals. Uh, maybe at the, you might not accomplish your goals when you wanted it. But I think if you can, like, in that case, what I would recommend is use everything you know, everything you have, um, just to get out of that situation. No matter if you're like, you know, empty-handed later,
yeah,
because I think you can always make a comeback once you're out of that. Because those are like, dude, those are two big walls that you
yeah,
can't you can't just uh, make it out without any sacrifice. Like that scenario where your friends are, you know, um, you know, essentially useless or sabotaging you. Your parents are sabotaging you. No one prioritizes your goals. Assuming you're trying to be productive and not trying to, smoke weed all night.
hmm
Because if if your friends and your parents are the obstacles from you smoking weed all night, then that's a good thing. Stay with them. Don't try to escape. Okay, don't try to run away. Actually, listen to them. So have a criteria, right? You can listen to people's advice. You can listen to my advice, his advice, whatever. But have your own brain. Like, don't just listen mindlessly, but actually have your own criteria. If you disagree, you can disagree. That it is fine. But I'm sure that you will always find value um, from any sort of advice, as long as you are willing to see the good, or try to like find something that will actually benefit you in a way that it will help you reach your goals.
yeah, yeah. I think I agree with that. I had something in mind, but I forgot. I was listening to you. I was too focused, agreeing.
You were like, oh, I have an idea. Actually, this guy's cooking.
Yeah, let him
let me
cook.
just, yeah, whatever. Let me pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was related to what you were talking about, though. Oh, came back. That means it was important because if it wasn't important, it would have been gone forever. The other thing to keep in mind is that like nowadays, who doesn't have internet, right? Like even if you're in a situation where like you don't really have a an opportunity to be surrounded by you know people that can help you, people who you can learn from. The internet is a wonderful place for you to learn anything. You're one Google search away from
Yeah.
learning or knowing whatever you want to know. So
Yep.
like you just go and learn a skill or research about a specific topic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Back in the 1900s, you had to go to the library. Imagine that. Reading documents just to know, I don't know, how many whiskers your cat has. Bro, like,
Bro, I'm pretty sure to know that you can count them, bro.
no, but it might be that every cat in your town has that, but not in the general population. Ah, you're right. Yeah, we don't know that.
Yeah,
Right?
if someone for some reason wanted to know
Or
the
maybe,
average amount of whiskers that a cat has, yeah, they had to go to the
or
library.
maybe you've heard what a tiger is, but you've never seen one.
Right.
You're like, oh yeah, yeah. The other day I saw a tiger, and you're ambitioning a dragon. Like, yeah, I saw a tiger, or or something stupid like that. Okay. My point is, back then, it was very easy to be ignorant, and to be fair, they're completely justified. I will not judge them because if it wasn't because of them, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
They like someone had to do the mistakes before we could get to today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad those people did that mistake.
You know when you talked about the tiger, it reminded me of a meme that I think I showed you like long time ago, but it was like a picture of this
Oh
dog.
yeah, the dog. Yeah.
The dog, and then it was painted as a tiger, and it's like, oh, like I'm selling this tiger for like this amount of dollars. It is a bilingual tiger, so like it might say wow sometimes. If you don't know and if you're ignorant, please don't comment. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
that was the funniest shit ever.
Yeah.
At the time, it was so funny.
That is true. But yeah. So having said that, yeah, you have the internet. You can answer the simple questions. Of course, you're still going to have to read documents if you need um, more up to date information or for the newest information because that's where they come from. They all go through the same system where they go from a study to whatever. Everything gets tested, fact checked, and then it goes out on the internet, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure if you're seeing this 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, AI will probably be like the goat and will tell you everything
Yeah.
and do everything. So
It's such a useful tool right now if used properly.
yep.
So I would imagine that in the future it'll be much more helpful.
Yeah, but it all comes to a person's imagination because I can see the possibility of us getting stuck because we're not creative enough, and
Right.
we're not taking out the full potential of AI. Solution: create another AI to give ideas to the other AI.
Yeah.
But that's I don't know. That's scary. That's a scary thought.
Yeah. And then since we're in the self improvement section, but this is a fitness channel, let me tell you. Okay. Let me change. Boom. Okay.
Classic Julio.
Fitness. So obviously, fitness is also a form of self improvement. I would say that like I would always encourage you to like stay in shape, be healthy, okay? Because without health, you can't do anything, okay? All these suggestions that we're giving, be surrounded with better people, be responsible about whatever, choosing between 9 to 5s versus entrepreneurship. All of these things cannot be done if you're not alive, okay? So take care of your health,
Yep.
okay? Don't.
You know what they say? They say you can have a million problems, but when you are sick, you only have one problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So like yeah, just stay healthy out there. It's the most important thing. Without it, you can't do anything else. And yeah, as long as you don't go too crazy in the gym. Don't get like those crazy injuries.
Yeah. Listen to your body.
Yeah, then you should be
Like listening to
okay.
your body. When we mean being healthy, we mean healthy in general. Like
Yeah,
you have to be healthy physically, mentally. You have to be sleeping well, eating well. Giving some sort of like activity, sport, whatever it is, some form of physical, uh, physical
activity.
activity for your body to work on. And yeah, mentally, you can have some mental exercise. I don't know.
No, no, no. Mentally is a whole
You
like
still have to be like balanced, no?
yeah, like for mental health, it's a whole different beast.
Well, to be fair, the mental stuff is still being studied, so we can't. I don't think I can comment too much about that.
Yeah, it's not like we're
But
experts either, but like it's a whole different beast. I think
and
that
there are new things getting discovered every fucking day.
like look, if you think that there's a lot of like if like you're not mentally well, and when I say that, like obviously a lot of people have like a lot of like mental health issues, but usually it is not recognized, especially when it comes to oh wait hold on, we're back in self improvement. Okay, so yeah, especially when it comes to like Asian households, when we're talking about Asian culture, right? Like a lot of like households and parents, they don't recognize the existence of like maybe specific disorders or like mental health things, right? For them, because most of the times they had to escape a country because of the economic situation or to seek for better opportunities in other countries. Usually their priorities has nothing to do with like mental health. Like that's the least of my worries. I want to earn money. I want my kid to have a stability, the stability that I did not have, right? And I want them to have education, the education that I didn't get, so that they don't have to suffer like me. That's usually their priority. And so a lot of like mental health things are not necessarily prioritized. And so I would say that it requires a lot of introspection from your part for you to truly explore your mental health situation and see if you require professional help.
Yeah,
Um, I think that you should never be arrogant enough to say, I never have and I will never have a mental health issue. Um,
there's no way.
yeah, there's no way. I
There
mean,
is no way.
everyone has
We
one really bad experience that they can point out to, and that affects you, and either consciously or unconsciously, it'll affect your behavior. So just keep that in mind and then be introspective.
I feel like there are still things that we need to discover about the brain. Like
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
Yeah. Wait, isn't there like a saying from Bill Gates or something that he said like, if you were to um, if you were to compare brains and like computer chips or something
hmm
or like processors or whatever, that we're like in order to make technology uh, to compete with the brain, you are like 10,000 years away or some shit like that. Like the brain, um, I think it's probably the least, not the least, but like the organ that we know the least, I
yeah,
think.
because it's not just a physical thing, right? It's just like there's other stuff in your brain, right? Like I don't know, I don't know how to explain this, but for example, your heart just pumps blood, right? Your fucking hand grabs stuff or whatever punches, you know, like every single body part has their own function, but the brain
Seems to
has
be responsible for so many things.
everything. The
Yeah.
reason why I can't move and I can use my heart and I can use my fingers and hands and blink because of my brain.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the reason why I can have logical thoughts are also because of my brain. So
Yeah.
it's complicated. Um, yeah,
Yep. So like, TLDR, all that to say, yeah, just take care of your mental health, I think. That's important.
yeah.
Um,
Are you gonna?
no, I'm not talking about that cuz I haven't finished it.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
True.
maybe we can like start touching on like this because we still have some time.
Or we can play games. Let me see. Is there anyone? Oh, there's 3 viewers,
4 viewers.
guys.
Damn.
You guys need a comment or something, you know?
Yeah, right.
Ask questions. What do
yeah.
you guys think?
Give me some content, okay? You gotta like put something in the chat. Can you like say hi or something if I
Yeah,
know you,
ask
or if
questions.
I don't know you? Also, like I would like to meet you. So just
Ask
add
questions.
something in the
We
chat.
can say hi, hello, or we can maybe clip you and put you in YouTube Shorts. No
Yeah.
content.
If you want to appear in a YouTube short, all you have to do is ask a good question. Then we can edit it and then put something nice.
Yeah. We can react, put a little meme, hee hee ha ha. And if you say something really smart, there will be a short saying.
Or
Hey,
if
this
you say
person
something
is
really
smart."
stupid, you'll also be in a short.
Okay, but you're not supposed to tell them that. Right?
True,
Right.
true, true.
It's like when you. Oh, someone left. You see, you scared them.
Okay, okay, fine.
All right, so it's almost like when you're like, let's go skydiving. Oh yeah, everything seems so fun, and then they give you the papers, like, oh, the company will not be accountable if you fucking
Die.
fall off and you die. Yeah.
Yeah, the terms and conditions. I see
Yeah,
the
the terms
the,
and
the
the-
fine print is like, oh, like if you have a heart attack from the adrenaline, then we're not responsible. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
bro.
If the parachutes do not work, then you're dead.
Yeah, and then you have to sign a waiver or something.
Yeah. We can play games, honestly.
Yeah, I think we basically cover every single topic that we had planned for today. If there's anything else or any questions that you or just like chat, anything that we want to like you want to chat, just drop it in the chat. For me, I don't see anything. But if not, we can just play games and
You wanna play Jim Kahoot?
Jim Kahoot. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Unless you guys have better ideas, just
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I thought about Kahoot, but I don't know. Haven't thought about that one in a long time.
Wait, you have an account?
I don't. Just Google whatever. Which
No,
one?
yeah, the second one.
Okay. I mean, I think I like GeoMaster a lot. I mean, what is it called?
GeoGuessr?
GeoGuessr. But you only get like 5 stars a day, I think. And I'm not bad because I can recognize like Asian, like whether you're in Asia or not. Professional and teacher, student, family, friends. Whatever. Just let me pray.
Yeah, just put whatever. It doesn't matter.
Let me play. Oh my god. Let's see.
No, the other one.
Oh,
I want to
shit.
see the second one. Yeah.
Is there no paper? Everyone reading. They just came here for advice.
Yeah, that's the important part.
It's
they've already
okay.
learned what they want.
You guys can get the value from us. It's okay. Just take it. It's free.
It's free. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
free. Free advice. Marketplace.
Not that we're experts on these things. It's just like
what has
we
worked
think.
for us as well.
Yeah.
Okay, sports. Is it sports? No. Let's put bodybuilding. Building. Ooh. What is bodybuilding? No. Gym.
No, or like
What happens if I put Jeff Nippert?
No, you can take the Jeff Nipper quiz.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me. Okay, I'm gonna test my my knowledge. Quiz.
There's a quiz?
Yeah.
Holy.
Actually, should.
All right. Just make sure you can share.
Yeah, I'm gonna share screen.
All right.
Okay, let me know if you can see it, please. 3 people. Okay. All right, we are 20 to 30, which best describes how you train to date, bodybuilding.
No, power building, no?
Oh, true. Yeah. What's the best? Your primary goal is. It's okay to have other goals too. I mostly want to gain strength. Build muscle. Gaining strength would be great, but it's my main goal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How much time would you like to spend in the gym each session? Um,
60 to
yeah,
90.
in the gym. I think I've been 2 to 5 years. Do you still want to include squats? Sure. Um, wait, what? No, 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 no. Hold on. This is not it. Wait.
Muscle IQ quiz.
That's the one. Okay. Wait, what am I doing? What the fuck? I thought that was a. Anyways, okay. Okay.
Okay, what is the most important factor for losing fat? Number one, A, caloric deficit. B,
B.
meal frequency. C, meal timing. And D, carb intake. All right, guys, trust me. Caloric deficit.
I trust you.
All
Oh,
right.
oh, okay.
Oh, they won't tell me.
Yeah,
Okay.
they won't tell you. Okay.
Do you need to train to muscular failure to simulate hypertrophy?
Hypertrophy. Yeah.
No. You don't have to
Yeah.
reach.
So basically,
In
I
order.
don't. Wait, hold on. Let me explain a little bit. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the lingo here.
What was that? Subscriber?
I don't know.
Oh,
Oh, it's
no,
an email.
It's an email.
Yeah. Um, hold on. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the bodybuilding lingo, but basically like muscular failure. Muscular failure is when you train until like basically you do repetitions for a specific exercise until you can't do it anymore.
Until it literally doesn't move.
Yeah, and then hypertrophy is just the fancy sciencey word for
Muscle growth?
muscle growth. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the answer is no. So do you need to train until you fail in order to stimulate hypertrophy? And the answer is no. Is it possible to build muscle and lose fat at the same time?
Yes.
Yes. Um, so for this to happen, you have to either be a beginner, and you have to or take steroids, or be extremely overweight. But for the most part, it's not the most efficient thing to do. So I would say yes. Who would have the hardest time achieving body recomposition? Gaining muscle while losing fat. So that's what it means, body recomposition. Someone using anabolic steroids. As I said, no. Someone who is using anabolic steroids can do that. That's why people take steroids, because it makes life easier when it comes to lifting. Some who is overweight or obese. So as I mentioned before, if you're overweight or obese, it's easy to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, because as long as you're training, you're gaining muscle, and because you have so much fat to lose, it's not a problem as long as you're in a calorie deficit.
Yeah.
A lean advanced trainee. So like this is the hard one, because you're lean, you don't have excess body fat to use as fuel for your training, and you're an advanced trainee, meaning that like
You already used all your newbie gains.
exactly. So it's gonna be much harder for you to put more muscle, just because
Yeah.
the more advanced you are, the
So
harder
it's hard
it is.
for both losing weight, like fat, and gaining muscle, because
Yeah.
you have already used the muscle that you were your newbie gains, right, to grow muscle, and there's no fat for you to burn. Yeah. And then D, a new trainee. Well, already said newbie gains.
Yeah, a new trainee is gonna be easy because if you're new, your muscles are so underdeveloped that any amount of stimulus is going to make them grow, even if you're not eating enough. So you can have a body recomposition where you gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. So the answer is hardest time, right? So it should be a lean advanced trainee. Which of the following supplements has the most scientific support for muscle and strength gain? BCAAs, creatine monohydrate, creatine HCl, and beta alanine. So I think it's creatine monohydrate. It's the most studied. Actually, I know this is creatine monohydrate because I used to work at a supplement store, and that's one of the selling points that you had to say. Where like, oh, this is the most like researched supplement in the industry. So
That's what I told my friend to convince him to take.
and did he end up taking it or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. All right. What is the most practically efficient rep range for building muscle? Efficient.
Efficient. I think 6'2". Wait, efficient?
What is the most practically efficient? So, if by efficient you mean like,
What's
it's gonna be
the best for your body?
the most. mm, practically efficient, meaning that like, okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Okay, it's probably gonna be 6 to 15,
Mm-hmm.
because anything 1 to 6 seems to be like you have to train extremely heavy in order to do this, and
Injury.
you have a risk of injury and a big risk for fatigue, and so it's probably not the most efficient. Whereas like if you do 6 to 15, you don't have to worry about fatigue as
And
much.
then if you do anything more than that, it's probably too light for you.
Yeah, like it feels like you're wasting time adding reps
If
to
you're
the
doing
exercise.
from
Um,
20 to 30 reps, you're probably doing a weight that the first 20 you don't feel shit.
yeah, it's almost like cardio in a way.
Yep.
So I think it's 6 to 15. Practically efficient rep range
Yeah,
for
they're saying
building
reps,
muscle.
not sets, because then it would be a completely.
Yeah, I will say though, for building muscle, anything between 5 to 30 is um like you can build
It
muscle
will
with
work.
that.
Yeah.
Like it'll work. But practically efficient, it's probably 6 to 15. And
Yeah.
that's my guess.
Which muscle is?
Not significantly activated by the exercise shown. Which muscle is not significantly activated? So like when you do this exercise, which one is
They're all
the
activated,
least?
but which one's the least?
So lats is extremely activated.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the muscle that you have over here. Um, your traps, which is part of your back, is highly engaged. Your biceps are necessary to pull things towards your body. Your anterior deltoid, anterior is the front, so it's gonna be your front delt right here. That's probably not as
Is it your?
engaged, because this is a back exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Which of the following describes the important eccentric phase on a bicep curl? Which of the following describes the important eccentric? It's a negative, right? The eccentric phase. So when you do a bicep curl, you do this and then you come down. So like this is the concentric and this is the eccentric. So on the way down is when you curl the weight up. Nope. When you squeeze your biceps up. No. When you lower the weight back down, this is probably the answer. And when you hold the weight at the bottom. No, it's
No.
when you lower the weight back down. Which of the following factors contributes the most to muscle growth? Mechanical tension, metabolic stress, muscle damage, and muscle confusion.
I
Okay,
think it's tension, no?
yeah, it
Mechanical
is tension. So mechanical tension is like the sciencey or like fancy way of saying like resistance.
Yep.
Metabolic stress is the idea of like, when you are doing exercise, you feel that burning sensation. That's basically metabolic stress, the lactic acid building up in your muscles.
I think it's a good indicator to know what muscle you're working on.
Yeah,
But it's not. It's not going to be a direct indicator as
yeah,
to whether you're growing or not.
yeah. So it's going to be a byproduct of exercising. Muscle damage is also a byproduct of exercising. This happens basically like every single time. The dumb way to describe muscle growth is like you basically break the muscle fibers, or you damage them a little bit while exercising, and that stimulates your body to create new, or to repair that muscle tissue into like larger and stronger, so that you adapt to that kind of stimulus. So like muscle damage is a byproduct. I don't think it's necessarily the contributing factor. And then muscle confusion is the idea of like that you have to work on,
Oh, on different exercises.
yeah, to confuse the muscle to add like new stimulus, and therefore they'll like
Yeah, but
grow
but
more.
but then, I mean, I guess. Wait, what were you saying last time? Like if you work different exercises,
Yeah, so
different way that your fibers, whatever.
yeah, so basically like let's say you want to train your biceps, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like if you do like a bicep curl, which is this movement over here, right? Um and then compare that to a bicep curl that you do behind your back, right? Like this. These are different ways to train your bicep, right? And the idea of muscle confusion is that you have to train like muscles from different angles in order to provide a slightly different stimulus in order to confuse the muscle and have them grow more. That's kind of like roughly the idea of like muscle confusion.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work. The problem with that is that like resistance is resistance.
Yeah,
Your
that's what I was thinking.
your muscles don't have a brain.
Yeah.
So like it's not like they'll be like, oh, you gave me this exercise and now you're giving me This exercise.
But
Um,
I guess if an exercise gives you more mind muscle connection, um, you might be more motivated to do it better.
yeah,
So it
like
were it would be more like a placebo effect,
yeah,
and because
yeah,
it's
sure.
placebo, you'll work on it harder and
Yeah,
you'll get more results.
my muscle connection is one of those things where like it can be useful, but I don't think it directly contributes to muscle growth.
Like when you try, not directly, like it won't be something that, hey, if you have because you have mind muscle connection, once you have that, you'll get more muscle. No, it'll be more like because you're more comfortable and you feel it and you feel more motivated, you will work harder, and because of you working harder, you get more muscle.
Yeah, like if anything happens, it's going to be like an indirect effect where
Yeah.
like you know that you're targeting the right muscle, and so you may be motivated to train harder,
Yep.
and that's it. But anyways, going back to this question, is like the following factors contribute to muscle growth is probably going to be mechanical tension. What does RP stand for? Rate of perceived exertion, I think, or rating of perceived exertion. Yeah, this is the one.
Okay.
All of these are not correct. Well done. Let's move on to level two, medium. Which rest period length tends to be better for hypertrophy? So this is the idea of like if you want to gain muscle, how long do you have to rest between sets? And the answer is generally
Longer.
as long as it takes for you to be ready for the next set, mentally and physically.
Mm.
Usually that range is going to vary depending on the exercise, but most of the time it's going to be more than 1 minute. Personally, for me, it's between 3 to 4 minutes, but yeah, the answer is
Yeah.
longer than 1 minute. Which of the following would not count as a form of progressive overload? Would not count as okay. So progressive overload is the main uh, contributing factor for muscle growth. The idea of you improving every time that you go to the gym on a specific exercise, whether it is adding weight to the bar or adding a rep or maybe adding a set. There's a debate on that. That's what we call progressive overload. Um, so it's asking which one doesn't count. Increasing the amount of weight you lift for the same reps, that is progress. So that is progression. So no. Increasing the number of reps you lift at the same weight, that is progression. So no. Increasing exercise variation, oof, that is not progression. That is you attempting another exercise. So you're not progressing within the same like movement. Hitting the same reps and load at a lower RPE. This is the idea of like you hit basically the same amount of reps that you did before, but your rate of perceived exertion, meaning that the amount of effort that you put was lower, meaning that you're stronger. So it should be this one, exercise variation. Muscle soreness, okay, can be useful proxy that you hit the target muscle. True. Is very important for muscle growth. Not true. Um, the reason why it is not is because you can be sore from running or you can be sore from trying a new exercise because you're not used to the stimulus. It does not mean that you're gonna gain muscle from it. Um, shouldn't happen when training with good form. No, it happens when even when you train with good form. So I think the best answer is probably can be useful proxy that you hit the muscle target, meaning that like if you're trying to hit your chest
Yeah.
and next day your chest is sore, then good job, you hit your chest pretty hard. Noel is a late beginner, early intermediate lifter who wants to build full body strength and muscular size with an emphasis on glute development. Assuming she does multiple exercises for multiple sets for her glutes each workout, how many days per week should she train her glutes to maximize gains without seriously risking recovery issues? Okay, I just read all of that and I have no idea what it
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah, me
Okay,
too.
Noel's a late beginner. Okay, lifter who wants to build. Okay, so she wants to become stronger
Mm-hmm.
and bigger.
Assuming that
She wants her ass to be stronger and bigger. Okay. Assuming she does multiple exercises for multiple sets for her glutes each workout, how many days per week should she train her glutes to maximize gains without seriously risking recovery? Oh, okay, okay. So given that Noel um, wants to make her ass bigger and stronger, how many times should she train it in a week? That's basically the
I
question.
would say 2 to 3.
Yeah. So for every muscle, um, generally speaking, if you want to grow it, um, the recommended frequency is gonna be 2 to 3 times a week. Anything below seems inefficient, just because like 7 days is way like excessive for you to recover from a workout. 5 to 7 times a week seems excessive for a specific muscle, and yeah, that's why it says seriously risking recovery issues. So it's probably going to be 2 to 3 times per week. Which RIR range is most likely to optimize hypertrophy? So RIR is reps in reserve, meaning how many reps you have in the tank by the end of a set. So let's say I am doing a bicep curl and I do 8 of them. If I think that I could have done 2 more, then my RIR is 2. So the question here is like, how many reps do you need in the tank in order for you to optimize hypertrophy? So how hard should you be training? And I think if you're leaving 12 to 15 or 6 to 12 or 3 to 6 reps, meaning that you could have done it, you're probably not training hard enough. So probably the answer is 0 to 3.
Yeah.
For an average lifter using standard technique, which of the following muscles is least activated by the barbell back squat? The average lifter using standard technique, which of the following muscles is least activated by? Okay, your quads are extremely highly activated, especially certain glutes and yeah, it's hamstrings. Yeah, it's hamstrings. Your glutes, basically your ass is extremely like if you do squats, you'll notice that your ass is gonna be sore as hell, and your quads is like basically your legs, like the front part of your legs. That's gonna be very sore as well. So your hamstrings is the back part. Billy is an intermediate lifter who has been weight training for almost 4 years. He really wants to grow his chest. Assuming he's taking most sets close to failure, how many sets per week should he do to give him the best muscular gains without seriously risking recovery issues? Okay, Billy is an intermediate lifter. So it's asking like, okay, given that Billy is an intermediate guy who has lifted for 4 years, how many sets in a week he should be doing in order to like increase his chest
14.
performance? 4 sets a week seems extremely low. 24. So to be honest, I think 14 to 24 are acceptable answers, but I think most people are gonna range between 13 to 19. So because 14 falls in that range, I'm gonna say 14.
I feel like 24 is a bit higher than, but yeah, 20.
Yeah. Which is the most appropriate protein recommendation for an average lifter in a caloric surplus whose primary goal is to gain muscle?
They're in a surplus, right?
They're in a surplus.
They can take more, no? It's still calories.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like 0.35 to 0.55 seems per gram per pound of body weight. It's a bit low.
They can do 1.3.
1.3 seems like excessive. Wait, hold on. Recommendation 0.7 to 1, I think is more than enough.
For someone who's trying to
gain weight, yeah.
Gain weight?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I'll stick to this one. Okay. Which exercise is shown in the image below?
Oh my god, that shit got me injured.
It's called the Meadows Row. Meadows Row is it's in I think the guy who came up with it was a bodybuilder / YouTuber called John Meadows, who died of a heart attack. Was it heart attack? I don't know what he died for, but he died, I think, during the pandemic, and so rest in peace. But yeah, he was a super cool guy. But anyways, it's a Meadows Rows. What is the joint action shown? Joint action shown in the exercise below. So it's going this way. So anything that goes out, like apart from your body, is like probably called abduction, and then anything that comes in is called adduction. So because this is a shoulder exercise, it's called shoulder abduction. Right here, boom. You're almost finished. Let's move on to level 3 hard. You're programmed to do a max effort set of 4 to 6 reps on a deadlift. If you put on a lifting belt and use it properly, which of the following is least likely to occur? You lift more weight. No, you probably will lift more weight. You lift the weight faster, more explosive force.
I think it could be
Maybe. You significantly decrease core activity.
true. You use
Okay.
less core, no?
You significantly
Wait,
increase.
core. Okay. Significantly increase. What does IAP stand for?
I have no idea.
I do. I do think. A lot of times, people refer to core as both abs and the lower back, right?
I think it's everything. Like, yeah, like your abs and your lower back and your obliques are included.
Yeah. I do think you decrease the core activity. Significantly increase. I don't know what that means, bro. Okay, this one I.
Least likely to occur. I don't know what IAP is. Here's what I'll say. I think that you do you decrease core activity? I don't think you decrease core activity.
I'm pretty sure you do, but I might be wrong.
I think your core activity is the same. It's just more stable for you to like.
But you have to like put less effort. It's like almost like yeah, it gives you more stability. An example that I can think of is like when you do
By significantly?
the word significantly messes you up.
The problem is that we don't know what IAP is.
Yeah, because right now I'm thinking of another example. Like when you're doing pull-ups, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to do the like lat pull down is very different from doing pull-ups, right?
Yeah.
Because if the lat pull downs didn't have the little pads on your knees, then you wouldn't do that much weight. Because you can, you know. And by having those pads on your weight, the reason why it doesn't directly translate to pull-ups unless you're really really strong is because you're decreasing core activity. That's the reasoning behind it. But I don't know. I don't know if it. I mean, I have heard this, and I do think when I have a weight, a belt, I don't have to think too much about, you know. I mean, of course, I still like embrace my core, but I don't think like perfect technique is required anymore, you know, because I'm already getting carried.
I don't know why I have a hunch that it's like the third one.
It could be because it's a trap. It's hard.
Okay. You see, just because I don't know what IAP is, I'm gonna choose the third one because I don't think you decrease your core activity. I think that your core activity is gonna be the same, but due to the stability, right, it allows you to lift more weight. But it doesn't mean that your core activity is decreased. It just means that you are allowed to activate your core just as much without having to focus in it. I think.
But do you think if you have a stronger core, you can lift more?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But like that's exactly what the belt is doing. It's making your core stronger by applying pressure from the outside. Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, you might be right. Actually,
Yeah.
If that's the analysis, then yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. Michael weighs 80 kilograms. Oh, my weight. Well, slightly higher. And has been training seriously for almost 5 years. He benches 2x per week, so 2 times per week, with good technique and uses structured progressions to increase his strength over time. Assuming he has average genetics for strength and is dedicated to the gym, how much should he realistically be able to bench press for 1 rep max? So he's been lifting for, okay, and then he's doing this. He's training 2 times a week, so pretty
2 times a week. Oh, bench press.
bench, yeah. Good technique, structured progression, so everything is going perfectly to increase his strength over time, assuming he has average genetics for strength and is dedicated to the gym. How much? No, for 5 years, the average person, I think, is more.
Average person, bro.
No, but average lifting person, like
Oh, lifting. Okay.
yeah,
125, bro. 363 is insane, bro. I
Yeah.
know people speed run it, but
yeah.
I would say around
Like I can make a case for this, I think,
yeah.
but I think it's this. Uh,
No, because they say average. Like would you say if someone had like really good? I mean, the time messes me up, and then also the word average. You know what?
the the other problem is, yeah, well, the first thing is the time. The second thing is like, look at how much information they're giving you in terms of like how good he's at training. Like he's benching 2 times a week with good technique and uses as structured progressions to
Oh,
increase, like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like they want you to choose this.
yeah.
Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Internal cueing would be most appropriate for which exercise from a hypertrophy standpoint? Internal cueing. Like,
Like
um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, like for example, let's say like if we're doing a I don't know,
Like the timing, right?
no, no, no. Internal cueing is like focusing on a specific thing in order to improve the performance of an exercise. So, for example, let's say you're doing a curl, right? Or like a bench press is an easier example. A lot of like cues are like, oh, make sure to like try to like bend the bar as you're like visualize that you're like bending the bar as you're performing the
I've heard
exercise,
that, but I don't think I do that.
or like,
Do you do that?
no,
I don't
no,
do
but
that.
like that's internal cueing. Like that's,
I know. I know.
yeah,
Okay. Back squat. No, you just fucking push
yeah,
it.
just push that shit.
Easy bar curl. I mean, you
Maybe.
can squeeze. Yeah. Barbell bench press. I think so. Incline treadmill. Yeah, you gotta watch your step. No. You can't be tripping on the incline.
Yeah, fuck that. Okay. um, what is the average fiber type composition of the soleus muscle of the calves?
Average fiber composition. The hell?
So okay. So for each muscle, there's two different type of fiber types. There's slow twitch and there's fast twitch. Fast twitch muscles are basically responsible for you
Like
to
sprinting and
make,
all that, right?
yeah, to make like basically like powerful moves, like strength based moves, but they fatigue immediately. So like for example, when you're doing 1 rep max, you're using fast twitch muscles. Slow twitch muscles, I don't think I'm getting this
Endurance.
reversed, but slow twitch muscles are muscles that are muscle fibers that are responsible for you to perform um, more endurance type of exercises. So if you're doing a plank or if you're walking, those are going to be recruiting mainly slow twitch fibers. So for the soleus muscle, is one of the muscles in your calves. Calves are extremely slow twitch. That's my understanding. Um, I would bet 70 to 96%, but I hate this quiz because I hate the quizzes that are like, oh, is it like 70% or like 96%? Like, I mean, I know they're slow twitch, um, but I don't know the percentage.
I don't know if there's one. I mean, maybe there's two types. I think there's two types. Mm, I don't know.
Fuck
Like,
it.
wait. Uh huh. Yeah.
Type 1 is slow twitch.
Sorry. I got confused. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 70 to 96. Like calves? Calves are slow twitch as fuck.
Yeah. Do it.
Which of the following activities has been shown to acutely reduce muscle protein synthesis?
Synthesis.
Okay, so which of the following activities? Okay, so muscle protein synthesis is the process by which your muscles grow, basically. Like muscle protein, the protein synthesis is a necessary process for muscles to grow. It's the idea of like basically assembling protein in order to like build like the muscle fibers, basically. Um, and then which of the following activities have been to show to reduce it?
I think. Wait. Is it? I heard something about cold water immersion.
Yeah. So cold water immersion. So like the cold showers or like the
Yeah.
ice bath.
I
Like,
know that stretching in between sets might make you weaker, like at the like in the moment, make you lose strength, but not lose
yeah.
like your opportunity to build muscle. Yeah.
Yeah. So my understanding is that like when you do cold water immersion, it helps you not be so sore the next morning, but it also reduces the amount of like protein synthesis that you incur. So like if you want to grow muscle, don't take cold showers, please. Cold water immersions. I think that I'm pretty confident in that one.
Imagine I picked the wrong shit.
Rachel is an advanced level lifter who has been training for both strength and size for almost 10 years. Okay. On an AMRAP, as many reps as possible, set. Roughly how many reps would you expect her to hit 80% of her daily 1 rep max on the squat? 80%.
80%. Wait, she's being, bro, 4 to 6, bro. 80%. Like, okay, let's say, let's say you just hit 225, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna use myself as an example. So
225.
my 1 rep max in the bench is 245.
Okay, minus 20%, right? 196. Do you expect yourself to do 7 to 10?
Yeah, that's what I do. I hit 195.
I mean, but realistically, um, you fall more on the, like,
Okay.
7 to 10. Let's say, like, normally in a good day you're hitting 7 to 10. So meaning 7, 8, 9, 10, right? That's the category, right? If 196.
Okay, hold on. Let's do another exercise. Okay,
Okay.
let's say the squat. My best squat was 325
Okay.
before I got injured. Okay,
Minus 20%, right?
yeah, minus 20% is 260. 260.
I think you can hit 260 like 7 to 10 times.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. Okay. Then
What about one more deadlift?
deadlift. Okay.
No, deadlift no, because I don't train it, so I don't have enough data.
Okay. What is it called?
Pull ups,
Not pull ups.
pull downs.
Pull, not pull downs. Yeah. How much did you do?
No, but I don't know my 1 rep max for that.
True.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, deadlift. Like I said, I don't know any other 1 rep maxes. So it's 415. So what is 80% of 415?
Like
332. Yeah, I can do 7 to 10. I think it's 7 to 10. Fuck it.
You're right. You're right because 185 I can do 7 right now.
Yeah. 7 to 10.
7 Larson.
Yeah. Okay, we're almost there. Which component of metabolism refers to activities like bringing in the groceries and is a major factor in metabolic adaptation to weight loss? Okay. So,
Bro, I can't read, bro. My
which
brain. This is bedtime.
so metabolism is basically the calorie expenditure portion of yeah, it's basically calorie expenditure. And then activities like bringing in the groceries. So this is not exercise, right? This is just like activities. I think so BMR is just you existing. Eat, EAT, I don't know what that means. TEF is total expenditure. I don't know. I think I know it's neat. I know it's I know it's neat. What did it stand for? Basically, neat is like all the activities that are not exercise that you do that help you spend calories, like brushing your teeth, bringing groceries, walking to the supermarket. Like these are not strictly exercise, fidgeting, but they like you spend energy while doing them. What type of periodization shown in the table below? Monday, chest, legs. Okay. So Monday, chest, 3 sets, 8 to 10. Tuesday, 3 sets, 4 to 6. So it's not linear. It's not reverse linear. Block? I don't see block. No, it's still like everything week 1. Week 1, week 2. So it cannot. It has to be the. It has to be this.
Wait.
It has to be daily undulating periodization. because by process of elimination.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
Just do it. Yeah.
yeah, it has to be undulating periodization. 2020 paper from Campbell has been called the first bodybuilding. Okay, in this study, one group dieted continuously and another group used 48 hours refeeds over a 7-week dieting period. Which of the following was finding in the refeed group? So basically, a refeed study is the idea of like you put people on diets and you give them like a cheat meal like every 2 weeks or something. Not a cheat meal, but like you refeed, like you give them a little bit more like leeway in terms of calories and macros that they can eat. And what did they find in that study? I think that was like a long time ago. It was like years ago. I think what they found was like a better fat loss because by having a cheat meal and by having refeeds, it allows the people to satisfy their cravings while keeping the routine
And the
of the diet.
consistency.
Yeah, the consistency of the diet. Better dry lean mass retention. Yeah, by getting like more nutrients, you're not like losing as much mass, like muscle mass or lean mass. Because lean mass also counts water, and if you're eating like extra carbs or whatever, like you're probably retaining a little bit more water. Higher testosterone, yeah, like if you're diet for long periods of time, usually, um, I think usually your testosterone goes down by, and all you need to do is like eat a little bit more, and your testosterone kind of like goes back up. So I think it's probably all the above. I feel like it's all the above,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong. Which of the following would cause muscle protein synthesis to be elevated for the longest period of time? So muscle protein is okay. I think you just need to train. 1 hour weight training, 10 grams of whey protein.
Yeah, I think training is better than
Yeah, so like 10, 20 grams of protein. You're just eating protein. It's not gonna like you don't have stimulus to grow
like
muscle.
yeah.
3 grams of leucine. Leucine is the main amino acid for muscle growth, but again, yeah.
Imagine that in order to go to
Calculating results. 29 out of 30.
wow,
What did I get wrong?
they won't tell you.
They don't tell me. Well, it's probably the one that I didn't know what IAP meant.
Yeah.
But anyways,
You guys can take it um and see what your result is. Please do not use ChatGPT.
don't cheat.
Don't cheat. Um, this is based on our experience. And the things that we've learned along our fitness journey. So, yeah.
All right, I think we gotta end the stream. I don't think we have anyone watching anymore, anyways, and it's kind of late, so we'll let people rest. I think it's enough of the two of us for now. But if you watched until now and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We have a bunch of content coming out soon. Um, yeah, and then if there are any topics that you want us to cover, anything related to fitness, relationships and dating, and self improvement, we're always here. Just shoot me a message on Instagram or comment on the videos that we upload. Again, we have a bunch of stuff coming out, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Good stream, boys. Thanks, Mastermind. Do you know that?
I have no clue, but
Well, thanks,
thank you for watching us.
Yeah, thanks so much for staying until now. And yeah, just next time, feel free to comment in the chat because it's kind of fun to interact with people. And yeah, if there's anything else that you want us to talk about, again, comment down below or let us know. All my social media is probably in the description. And
Yeah, and if you guys want to watch more content for now, and you guys don't want to wait for our next stream, you guys can go on the YouTube channel and go on the short section. We pretty much milked our last streams, but it's okay. It won't always be like that. There will be better videos coming up soon.
yeah, Yeah, we have a bunch of shorts in the channel, so just check them out. And yeah, if
And if
they're
you guys have any opinions about the shorts, just comment in there.
yeah,
Whatever you guys think. We're open minded.
yep, yeah, we're just trying to improve here. Yeah, if there isn't anything else, again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next stream.